On this episode, I am going to talk to you about some credit lessons school didn't teach you. Coming up. Welcome, I'm your host, Steve Pinate, realtor and host of the Steve Talks Real Estate Show, where we bring you value, content, and tips in all things real estate and housing related. So on this episode, we are gonna go into credit lessons you didn't learn in school. Number one, paying interest is tough. We all know what it's like. It's fun, racking up the credit debt, but all of a sudden it's a different story when it comes down to actually paying your monthly payment. And on top of that, it's rough once you realize you're not only paying what you spent, but the interest that the credit card companies are now charging you. It's super important you are making your payments on time, and if you can, add a little more because interest adds up really quickly. Missing even one payment can result in a large and a very painful interest payment. Lesson is, pay attention to the interest payments you are making every single month and the interest rates the credit card companies are charging you. Number two, credit doesn't build by itself. I know this sounds redundant and you hear it a lot probably that you have to work on your credit, but pay attention to this. Credit doesn't build by itself. What does that mean? It means that you have to get on the right track early on to make sure you are building good and healthy credit. There are ways you can build healthy credit without getting into debts, without all the stress that comes into attempting to build something that is really challenging to build at times. A smart way to start building healthy credit is getting a secured credit card. A secured credit card is a safe way to make sure you limit yourself if you haven't established healthy behaviors. I remember being an 18-year-old student at Arizona State, and I was walking out of the gym, and right outside the gym was a credit card company. And so there I was like, what? Is this money? Is it free? 18, not really too familiar with what credit even was. I signed up, and in a week, I had a credit card with $1,000 limit. I felt like I had won the lottery. What did I do? I went to GNC and in one day spent $500. The weekend came and the credit card was maxed out within 1 week. That was one of the worst mistakes I've done in my financial life as an adult. Credit limits does not equal permission to spend. It's super important to start early on. Really healthy financial habits. A healthy way to build credit is to keep your credit cards at a 30% maximum of what the credit has been extended to you. Therefore, if it's $1,000, keep it no more than $300. Pay gas with it and pay it off. Pay your weekly groceries and pay it off. That's how you begin to build credit. Don't go out and go max out your credit cards and keep them rotated at the highest limit, paying the minimum balance. Number one, you'll be paying so much interest, and number two, you'll never begin to create healthy financial habits. I want to encourage you, don't make the same mistakes I made as an 18-year-old because I had to work a lot. I want to encourage you to begin building healthy financial habits. Now, one way to do so is to start putting money aside. This is gonna take a lot of sacrifice from you because you have a certain way of doing things, and all of a sudden, you have to change your habits in order to obtain a different outcome. What happens when you begin to change your financial habits? All of a sudden, you put money aside. You decide, I'm not gonna go eat out, I'm gonna eat at home. You decide, instead of going to the movies 8 times a month, you know what? I'm only gonna go once, and the rest, I'm gonna put it aside. And little by little, you start doing that, and all of a sudden, you begin to realize that you have money in your savings account. And trust me, there is no greater feeling than realizing that you are on a journey to building healthy financial habits in your life. Well, that wraps up episode number 34 of the Steve Talks Real Estate Show. I know these subjects are very touchy, but I'm getting amazing responses from these types of episodes. Therefore, I'm gonna be talking a lot more about them and a lot more from the heart, because I wanna make sure that you are ready to do life and do it well. Keep sending in your questions and I will do my best to keep answering them. We'll see you next time.